Well, today starts the process of getting the front end back together on the car. The focus today is going to be modifying the stock bumper so it fits along with the front mount. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of cutting and re-welding involved in getting this to fit. This is what it looks like so far. It's not actually attached to the car, but you can see it's already hitting the front mount. I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually really close to fitting. It doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of modifying to get this to work. As you can see, I need to modify the bumper so it can slide back about another 1.5 inches. There's the rough markings I made to give me an idea where I'm going to need to cut this. As you can see, it almost lines up with this tab right here for this bracket. So I'll probably end up using this as a guide on where I'll make my cuts. So I've made just kind of a test cut. I was just kind of curious how good my grinder would cut through this, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be that difficult. I'm also going to need to remove this lip here. That's kind of hitting the bottom of the front mount. So guess I'm just going to keep chopping away. That's what it looks like. As you can see, it actually fits really well with the first cut. I'll need to cut this out, round it off a little bit, but otherwise I've got a ton of room. I'll have to do the same thing to that bottom end, but otherwise, I mean, this didn't cost me anything. Go ahead and paint some of these parts so I don't have to worry about it rusting in the future. What do we got here? Krylon Rust Tough Primer. And this is what I'm left with. Did a couple more test fits and works great. Cleaned up the cut edges. And this is all the material that I'm going to have to remove to make clearance of the front mount. I'm sure some of you are going to wonder why I didn't just buy a bash bar or even bother modifying this to work with my car. Really, I just want the front end to fit perfectly. I don't want any gaps. I don't want the front end to sag. So I went ahead and took the time and modified this to make it work. I wasn't sure if it would at first, but after a little bit of measuring, it was pretty obvious that you can modify this to make it work. I'm sure the next concern is going to be some of the structural rigidity that I've taken out of the bumper. So this is what I've come up with. This is the section that I've removed from the bumper itself. And my plan is, so I went ahead and placed the piece that I cut off, remove this bracket that was on the back of it, and it just slides right back in there. So I'm going to go ahead and weld this up, and I'll eventually make some plates to fill in these gaps here, but I'm going to weld it up and see how I like it. I've also picked up a new welder. That flux core welder just wasn't doing it, so I picked up a Lincoln 140. So it's got all the dials and stuff, so I can really turn down the heat and the speed of the wire, which definitely helps a lot when working with sheet metal. Now I've just got a box in the sides. And this is how it turned out. I didn't bother recording any of the sanding or painting or some of the finish work I had to do on the bumper, but this is what it looks like. Paint's all dry. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. As you can see, reused some of that material that I cut off, pushed it back about 1.5 inches on the top, which still kind of gives it that OEM look. I didn't bother really grinding down the wells that much, since you're really not going to be able to see it, but you can see here where I boxed in the ends. So hopefully that'll retain some of the rigidity that I took out by cutting this up. So it started out as 19 pounds. I really didn't shave off too much weight, I would imagine, but overall really happy with the way it turned out. This is going to work out awesome with the front mount. So let's see how it fits. And here's what it looks like installed. As you can see, I notched out the corners a little bit, give it a little bit more clearance, but otherwise, if I ever pull this off, I think what I'm going to do is cut off that bottom lip. I'm not sure why I kept it in the first place, but I'll probably cut that off to give it a cleaner look and maybe add some gussets or something in the future, but it's going to work well for what I want it to. And I reweighed the bumper, and I think only shaved about maybe 0.5 pound. So modding the bumper like this still puts it around 18-19 pounds, which is the OEM weight. So it's really not done to save weight. And I'm not sure how that compares to the crash bars. I know those are pretty tough, but I would imagine they weigh a little bit less. If any of you have ever weighed one of the crash bars, I'd be interested to know how that compares to the OEM bumper. So now it's time to get the front end back on.